Hi, my angel babies. Welcome back to Lumen and Lineage. Today, we're going to talk about why do I keep repeating the same relationships in different bodies? Been there. Different person, same pattern. If you've done this, stick around. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about something that is frustrating, confusing, maybe a little embarrassing. Have you ever looked back at a past relationship and you're like, wow, the same things keep happening. They're controlling. They're making me feel insecure. My body feels anxious. This does not feel good. Why does this keep happening? Now, from a scientific aspect, because I'm a Scorpio, so I like to get to the heart of things. I like to understand everything. Everything's energy. So if you're not kind of like a woo-woo person, maybe this isn't for you. But science is, it's created by God. It's why we're here. I mean, honestly, none of us, we're on a floating rock, guys. We don't know how we got here, and they want us to pay taxes. Like, what is happening? Anyway, let me stick to the topic. Our bodies store emotion and patterns, and we like repetition because it's known, it's familiar, right? So that is why you keep attracting the same type of partners. The first step is clarity. We need to realize that this is actually going on, because once you're aware of it, you can step back, and then you have the capability to stop that pattern and start a whole new one. So maybe the names changed, right? The faces, the circumstances, but the feeling stayed the same, right? You have the same disappointment, the same wound, and many of us spend years trying to understand why we keep attracting the same type of person. Why do these emotional experiences keep feeling the same? We're repeating patterns. We are repeating emotional dynamics. These are the stories that you've been carrying about yourself for years. I'm not worthy. My partner always cheats on me, then you're always with somebody that's always cheating on you. My partners are always controlling, then you're with somebody that's always controlling. So you're reinventing and reliving the same story, and you need to cut off that neuron in the brain and recreate a new one. For many people, love becomes associated with uncertainty. Maybe affection was inconsistent. Maybe emotional needs weren't welcomed, like you weren't safe explaining your heart or how you're feeling. And so adulthood becomes a search for something that feels familiar. We are gravitated to what we're used to. Not necessarily something that's healthy. We just want what feels good to us and what our body recognizes. And what I want to talk about is this is where people get stuck, because they're trying to heal the wound by finding a different ending. But you're still attracting the same type of person. You're hoping that they're finally going to choose you. They're finally going to stay. They're finally going to become consistent. This person's going to be the one. They're going to provide the love that you didn't receive before. But healing does not happen when somebody else changes. It's what happens when you become conscious of what you keep repeating and what you keep attracting. And that is where lineage comes in within Lumen and Lineage. Lineage asks, why does this feel familiar? What is this pattern here? Not what feels exciting or magnetic. What feels familiar? Maybe you learned that love meant caretaking. I learned that if I was more nurturing or offered more softness to somebody else, that I would get it in return. Maybe you learned that your needs were inconvenient. And so you're repeating these constant needs, and not because you want to suffer, right? Because who wants to feel like crap? It's because your nervous system is seeking familiarity, even when it hurts. I think one of the most compassionate things that we can do is stop saying, what's wrong with me? And look at yourself and think, what am I repeating? Because this is the question that creates awareness, and then this is where you have a choice, and you can change and you can break the pattern or the cycle or the loop. You can pause, observe, question it. Right? I was in a really toxic relationship, didn't know how I made it out, and then when I got out, I was like, why was I in that for so long? Like, I really truly wanted to understand it. So once you interrupt this and choose differently, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight, right? It's a gentle unfolding. It's a returning to yourself. And I want you to remind yourself of something. The goal isn't perfection. You're never not going to make mistakes, right? We are humans having an experience here, and this is the whole point, so that we can learn and grow. Your goal is becoming conscious, aware enough to recognize an old pattern that's asking you to abandon yourself or betray yourself and your needs. And when you say, hey, that doesn't feel good in my body, that doesn't feel like something that is good for me, you can stop it. One moment, one boundary, one relationship at a time. You will have the opportunity to rewrite your narrative and your story. If you've ever found yourself repeating the same lesson in different people, life isn't punishing you. It's trying to teach you and help you see something, see yourself more clearly. Maybe it's returning because it's ready to be healed. I've had a lot of friends that have been divorced, especially during the COVID time. Everyone was spending way too much time together and then things were combusting, right? And I had a lot of friends that went into relationships right away and then they attracted the same exact pattern. The same exact thing was happening. And it's really because they just didn't sit with themselves, right? Some people have this crazy fear of being alone. And I was in a relationship for 20 years, right? So even just like sleeping in bed without somebody there was so awkward and really hard for me to get used to. But being alone is one of the most powerful things that you can really do because it brings you home, it brings you back to yourself. And if you want to have a genuinely good relationship or partnership, you need to know yourself, your needs, your emotional boundaries. This way you can show up as your best self for that person, and then you can attract somebody that is their best self, right? Because you don't want somebody that's going to make you better. You want to be better together, right? And you want to be able to choose that person every day and say, I'm here, I'm showing up, I'm my best self. You want to be able to communicate your needs with that person. So if you're someone who has been having these patterns where you're attracting the same kind of emotional dynamics, I have something I created called Halo Clarity Notes. So this is where you're going to send me a voice note. You're going to explain your experience, and then I'm going to break down and give you the full Halo method, right? So we're going to illuminate, we're going to reveal, we're going to explore the lineage or the pattern, and then we're gonna return so you can come back to yourself and find ways that you don't have this trauma bond or this need to be with somebody. It's okay to be alone. I think that's the superpower here, right? Returning to yourself, observing your pattern. It's really important to explore emotional patterns, attachment issues, nervous system comfort, and why familiar does not always mean that something is healthy. With the Halo method, we learn to identify the unconscious dynamics that keep repeating and gently return to self-trust. And I have these wonderful affirmation cards that I'm creating, journal prompts, and you can also plug in these affirmations. I have a copy and paste thing into VibeSesh. You can download VibeSesh for free. I'm not being paid for this or anything, but it's just something that I found that I like. They have a bunch of subliminals already uploaded that you can listen to while you're sleeping, but I like to add my own because I like them to be a little more fierce and sassy. But anyway, observe the pattern, return to yourself. Thanks for being here with me today. I'm rooting for you. I love you, and we got this.